in other piece of big news, KU authors can now sell their ebooks to libraries, which this is a seismic shift in the landscape, because previously it's been KDP, or Kindle Direct Publishing, versus traditional publishing, and on this side is all the bookstores and the libraries and all that stuff over here, and all the award lists and the bestseller lists and all that stuff. And over here is Amazon, and indies have only been able to play on Amazon because you can't get in over here unless you have like a real specific Ingram relationship or something like that.
Drafted you can digital, with your physical book, but the ebook
right, exactly,
exclusive to the Kindle store.
But that was the war, right? Because this side of the traditional publishing hates the Amazon side. Okay, and that's why you see ebooks on the traditional side are priced at $16.99. Okay, they're actually trying to de-incentivize ebooks being bought on Amazon, is what they're trying to do, and they're willing to take a loss to do it because they see it as preserving their standing. Okay, here's the issue: if KU authors can now sell their ebooks to libraries, which is the piece of news now, like Amazon has updated its KDP Select program to allow ebooks enrolled in KU for page reads to be distributed to libraries. The bigger piece here to me is that libraries might actually take KU books.
Yeah, just because you have the ability to sell it doesn't mean that they're going to buy, but we're already seeing some books like Dungeon Crawler Carl entering the various library systems rental pools, and this is definitely something that you should pursue. I have an entire episode of Novel Marketing about how to use Overdrive to get into libraries.
Yeah.
And now you can ignore the part of that episode that talked about the pros and cons of whether you should be exclusive to Amazon or try to go with the library strategy. Now you can have your cake and eat it too. This is really big. The most common way that this is done is with an app called Overdrive, which is a part of Libby. But you can also do it with Drafted Digital, Publish Drive, Smashwords, and there's one other I'm forgetting the name of. So if you're using one of those tools, you can also make your book available to libraries that way. I will give you one tip now on how to get into libraries that's very straightforward, and that is ask your readers to request your book at their local library. This is the most powerful technique that all indies can do. There are other techniques, and you can listen to the episode for the other techniques, but a lot of libraries pay a lot of attention to what books their card holders are requesting. And if you can get even one card holder in a library system to request your book, it makes your book much more likely to be accepted. And if 5 or 6 card holders are requesting your book in a library system, you're almost guaranteed to start selling copies of your book into that library system.
So when CJ Malacy was running her I think it was her first Recruit Italianus launch, I worked with her on gamifying her launch sequence, which was part of it was you could get points in this game that we put together for requesting the book at your local library, and then people could get icons and stuff for having done this. There was a lot of social proof. It was really fun. People really enjoyed doing it. But if you do that and you can gamify your launch and then get them to request the book in your local library just as part of this game, because you're on the launch team and it's just fun stuff to do, and then the author is super grateful for everything that you're doing, and you can see the world change a little bit because now the book is in the library because of you. Then that's a huge deal. I mean, people are going to jump all over that. And now the fact that libraries can list a KU book, now you don't even have to make the decision as to whether you're going to be exclusive or not, because now the library may just potentially take it, and it's easier to get a KU book for a library.
On the other hand, look at this from the perspective of a librarian who has historically been protected from 90% of authors.
Yes.
Because 90% of indie authors are exclusive to KU. And now we're getting dozens of pitches, and now they're getting thousands of pitches. So this may not have the impact you think it will, because you're going to be in a crowded space. And so my advice is to move on this quickly. Most indie authors don't know that they can do this now. And so the next month is your golden window So go right, as soon as this episode is over, go sign up for Overdrive. Start the process of getting your book available for the libraries to order, both in paper and in ebook, and then start the process of asking your email newsletter to start requesting your book. Maybe even make it a competition and be like, hey, I'll be I'll do it. I'll have a drawing to do an exclusive call with me or get a signed copy of my book or whatever. And you can enter the drawing by requesting the book and sending me proof, right? Gamify this, play with it, brainstorm ways of making this work. Listen to my episode on getting into libraries. We may do another episode on this now that this is a big part of the strategy.
Yeah,
but
I feel like this can be developed out a lot more.
Right. So you're going to have to play the game better a month from now or 2 months from now. But right now, it's Gold Rush. It's like Oklahoma Land Rush, right? You just go find some good land and grab the flag. This could be a really easy way to boost your sales.
And you do have to keep in mind also that libraries aren't just repositories of books that are open to everything. They are actually fairly like strongholds of conscience. Okay, so the acquisitions editor in the library is going to use their morality to decide what kind of books get put into the library system. So you're going to have to work your targeting appropriately. Now, one thing libraries are very susceptible to is social pressure. If you get 100 people coming in and requesting a book, at that point, it's like, it doesn't even matter what the book is. We need funding. So if we're turning down requests from 100 people for one specific book, we can't stay open, kind of a thing. So there are ways to overcome certain intransigence in the library system. But I think we'll try to develop that out and talk about it more later.
Yeah. One thing to keep in mind, I heard a stat somewhere. I'm looking to verify. I'm fact checking myself right now. It looks like 91% of librarians are registered Democrats, according to this one claim. Which I in my head it was 95%. So that sounds like it's down to 91%. So when we're talking about morality, we're talking about a Democrat morality here. So do keep that in mind. And we've covered in this show instances of bias against right-leaning authors trying to get into library systems and trying to stay in library systems. So you really have to use that reader pull tactic, because while they are left-leaning in their ideology, there's also a strong belief of every book a reader, or every reader a book, which is like one of the librarian credos, where like different readers want different books and it's the librarian's job to present those books. But it is interesting. We'll have a right-leaning books in my local library system where there's 400 copies available, and then a left-leaning book where there's 400 copies available, and then a right-leaning book on that same topic where there's 1 or 2 copies, and they're both back ordered, and you have to get on a waiting list, and there's like 20 people on the waiting list. So they'll have a book for the reader, but they may only have 1 copy. So it depends on the library.
What I'm saying is do your targeting, because every library system is localized and every acquisitions editor is different. So you're really going to have to do your research on whatever library system it is that you're targeting, and find out, because they acquire books differently. It's not even a standardized process. So just you do your targeting research and do your study, and then you'll know the best way to go, because just, calling them all Democrats isn't really super helpful when it comes to targeting information.
Now, one part of this is pricing. CD had a question. Can we talk about pricing for ebooks? Because how this works is you sell them a copy of your ebook, and then they'll lend out that copy over and over and over again. And so you don't want to sell them the ebook at the same price that you would sell an ebook to a reader. We discussed pricing strategies in that episode, and I don't remember.
I think it's like $50 for an ebook license.
Yeah, something like that. I think Overdrive has some suggested pricing. I would follow that. If we do an updated episode, we'll definitely cover this. I don't know how price sensitive libraries are. So you would think, oh, well, if I charge $40, they'll be more likely to buy my book. And that may not actually be the case. That may be because librarians aren't spending their own money; they're spending taxpayer money. And in my experience, people don't really care about taxpayer money. Even like Marines, they're shooting bullets. They're not feeling like every bullet is $1, taxpayer dollar, and shooting down range. The budget. It's just not how government employees think. But it is a signal of quality. And so if your book's only $40, like, oh, maybe this book isn't so good. So we'll have more on this later. But right now, move on it quickly.